Hello, Trojan fans. Welcome to another edition of the Peristyle Podcast. On a Tuesday, we're going to talk about some USC Trojan football. Of course, 5-0 coming into this weekend's game against Washington State, taking care of business against Arizona State over the weekend, 42-25. I got my buddy Chris Trevino along with me. If you're listening on any of the podcasting platforms, thanks for doing that. If you're watching live on YouTube, we've just came from USC practice, put up some content and stuff, and we're broadcasting this live simulcast on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/InsideTroy. So we appreciate you all coming out and checking that out. If you put your comments in the chat box, we'll be able to put them up on the screen and check them out to what you had to say. If you have any questions or comments you want to send in the show ahead of time and you want to be a part of the whole podcast, on the podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, all that kind of stuff, you can email us podcast@uscfootball.com, or you can call or text us at 424-254-9141. I mentioned the Apple podcasting app. If you would not mind, if you take a little bit of time out of your day, we appreciate very much to go over to your Apple podcasting app and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps us to grow the show. We got over 1,000 ratings so far, but those reviews definitely help. We got a couple new ones, Chris.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I haven't read them yet, so hopefully they're good. They are 5 stars.
So unless they're like setting you up.
They could. So we encourage that on the Podcast of Champions, little plug there, where we give us 5 stars and then just trash us in the review. And that's fun. People do that all the time. It's very funny. But
what do we got?
We got Scaramouche says 5 stars, good stuff. A good forum, would like more Shoddy and Ryan. They both provide substantive information in a straightforward manner. My only criticism is that Chris always tries to be funny, and he has this tendency to use 50 words rather than 20. I will give Chris a C grade. Shoddy and Ryan get A's. Okay, Chris, I'm really sorry. I didn't even know. I just started reading that. I could have just skipped it, but he did leave us a 5-star. So I don't know.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't agree with his assessment. Maybe I should have read this ahead of time.
Maybe. Let's just do another one.
GC Thunder says, essential for USC fans. The Peristyle podcasts are very informative, well-produced, and enjoyable. They make for great entertainment on my morning jogs, although I'm usually done before the 3-hour, 2-star cold open wraps up. Although Trevino's Ghost Notes easily justify the price of the VIP membership. Fight on. So there you go.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay. We're 1-1. We're 1-1. You got one more just to even it out?
That was it.
That was it. Okay.
Got, yeah.
So I finished 0 in the turnover margin.
You were exactly like USC against Arizona State.
Broke even.
You were broke even on the turnover margin.
That's my sweet spot.
You didn't get a failing grade from the first one, but nice. Thank you all for the reviews. We do appreciate that. It's a lot of fun, and we have a good time with it. You say something funny in the reviews, we like to read them and have a good time. We have a bunch of questions and stuff we want to get to. We got to talk about some of the topics, but before we get to all that, I do want to thank our sponsor, Trader Joe's. My mom was visiting this last weekend, or this last week, Chris, helping out, and she walked over to our local Trader Joe's, brought back a bunch of snacks. It was good. It's pumpkin time over, so if you go to TraderJoe's.com, there's a caramel apple dipping kit, which I love. I love the caramel apple stuff. Do you like that? Do you like those? Are you a fan?
I feel like I'm in a time loop. Didn't we do caramel last?
But there was a different.
It was a different thing. But we talked about caramel.
We did. Yes.
Yeah, last time. I'm not a caramel apple guy.
No. Okay.
No, I understand why people are, and I appreciate them, but it's not my go-to thing.
But there's lots of good pumpkin stuff in there. And it's funny. My mom came back. Sort of like a random, like the orange chicken, which you like. So we were doing a lot of eating out, So we were like, let's make some food in. So she walked over to Trader Joe's when I was in the studio doing work and Picked up some orange chicken, and then they had like this multicolored carrots, like frozen carrots that were really good. Doesn't normally go with orange chicken, but it worked. And then I can't remember the name of the rolls, but there were these like long rolls that she put in the oven that were also really good. So just kind of three things I never would have put together. But that's what I love about going to Trader Joe's. You can just go in there, find some stuff, put it together, and then boom, and you have yourself a meal. And it was a great meal there. So.
Well, shout out to TJ's.
TJ's.
I haven't been in a while. I haven't been since our Bake Off, so I need to replenish some Trader Joe's stuff. So
yeah. Oh, you got
excellent reminder, Ryan.
You got to go back there. So, yeah. So it looks like your comments are coming up right now, and we actually can go more than an hour. So if the podcast, Chris doesn't want this to go more than an hour, but if the podcast happens to go more than an hour, we can still put your comments up there. So if you have a question, you're watching us live on YouTube, just put question up front so I can spot it out. I will mark it as a question and come back to it a little bit later on. But Chris,
I just want to say,
yes,
I'm not over that comment from earlier from the thing. I just want to say to the comment about tries to be funny. I am funny.
He is funny.
Let's get that straight. I want that on record, and I'm funnier than you. That's not you. I'm talking to the person who left that comment. That's
right.
What I have to say.
Maybe I just said it. That really wasn't a
right.
comment at all.
I'm going to go back and it's that you added in that whole.
Yeah, like there's no
sentence.
comment
There's
here.
not
that
even a
says that.
samoosh. He made that up on the spot. I'm actually impressed you made up a username like that.
Perfect.
But go ahead, jump us into whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, so USC defeats Arizona State. We've kind of talked about a lot of this stuff before on tunnel vision and everything.
Sure.
Digesting it, I don't know if you got a chance to rewatch it. Caleb Williams, absolute magic back there. They got that Kalen Bullock turnover at the end of the game, so the turnover streak lives on. One thought that you maybe didn't have at the game or after the game about this one, Chris?
One thought. That's really tough because I've already shared a lot of thoughts on this. Here's two things. One, I'm very upset that I've gone 0-2 in cover picks the last 2 weeks. And you have as well, correct?
Yes, I've picked USC. USC's 3-2 against the spread.
I really thought they were going to.
I picked them every time.
I might pick them again just to keep going, just to triple down on it. But I thought they were going to cover. I saw it happening that last drive. Multiple penalties, multiple things went wrong.
Yes.
To give Arizona State that drive they needed to keep it within the cover zone or whatever you want to call it. And because if USC got that ball back, they were scoring, and they did score after that. But that is something that sort of like, because I don't care about the record, Ryan, but I also do.
Right.
I very much do. I'm slumping on picks. I'm slumping on predictions.
Yeah, your predictions have been kind of butt.
That is a technical term. Yes, they have been very butt.
What was your favorite prediction you got right in the last 3 weeks? Do you have a lot of choices for that? Or were there
no. There was one where everyone was like, what was it? Oh, it was the first week or something? Oh, what was it? This is so annoying. Because it was like it happened and everyone was tweeting at me that I called it.
Oh, okay. I don't remember what that was.
Man.
I was just joking because I think you're 1-15 or 1-14 the last.
You
3
meant
weeks.
it was.
What's your favorite pick? Because there
probably
was
the only
one
that I got.
Yes,
which I don't even remember what it is.
That was the joke. Yes,
I don't even remember what it is. But I guess Ryan. I've been stalling and I don't really have.
That's okay.
A thought of something
that I think people have kind of moved on from the Arizona State game for sure. My picks were, I've been really good in the Pac-12, and then this last week it wasn't very good.
Pat your back for me.
But then this last week it wasn't good. I got USC wrong. I got the only teams I got right were the really butt teams. Picking against Stanford, picking against Colorado. Those are the only 2 of the 6 games I got right. All the home teams won, by the way, in the Pac-12. So home games, the Pac-12 teams would be a big deal this year. So we did have a comment from Cameron that said, called you the man. So He said F the haters. So
Cameron, I love you.
You got some support.
I love you, Cameron.
Yeah. But yeah, we can like.
I just want to say we need a new way to talk about the previous week's game at the top of this show, because you and I, we talk about it so much. From whether you do the instant after the game or when we do tunnel vision,
yeah,
and you do the Harvey Hyde show already, and then by the time we get here, we're already shifting gears into something else, and sometimes we'll do a car cast. So there's chances we've done it 3 times by the time we get to this point. So maybe I just do some moving forward. Maybe I'll just do some impromptu, take it or leave it. Off the game. If you're game, we'll try to do like 5. I've been taking a lot of improv lately, so we're just going to improv this all at the top and see what happens. You want to play along with this?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm down.
Okay, so Arizona State, you watched Caleb Williams. Based off what you saw against Arizona State, Caleb Williams' Oregon State game was a fluke.
I'm taking it. Yeah, I don't think it was like a defensive scheme thing. I think it was a tough place to play on the road. I mean, he talked about his mechanics being a little bit. It looked like Oregon State was impacting kind of what was going on, but I think a lot of it was on USC side, on Caleb Williams' side. So yeah, I would say that's more of a fluke. I don't think you're going to see a performance like that the rest of the season.
Okay, some things I was looking at with the running backs. Take it or leave it. Forcing Raleek too much, not enough Austin Jones running the ball.
I think that, yeah, it seems like it was sort of like...
So you're taking that.
I'll take it. Like, it's one of those things, what was it from Mean Girls? You can't make Fletch happen or something like that.
Fetch. Stop trying to make Fetch happen.
So I feel like you're trying to make that happen. I think it can be great. It can be, but I think it's got to be a little more natural. It seemed to be a little force-fed, just from my opinion.
Okay, let's transition a little bit to defense.
Yep.
Defensively, based on what you saw in Oregon State, you would consider the Arizona State performance a letdown.
I'll take it.
Okay, that's 3 takes.
I would take it because I feel like this was one of those deals where it wasn't what Arizona State was doing. It was more of like what USC was doing. I asked Tuli Tuipulotu about this today, like, hey, what was different and stuff like that. And it was just more about, they were a lot more aggressive. They were getting after it in the second half. They were up near the line of scrimmage, and I felt like they were back off of it in the first half. So to me, it was just more about scheme-wise, they weren't really doing the right stuff. That's what it felt like to me. So I'll take it.
Okay. Take it or leave it. The special teams are going to hit a new floor. There's still something coming where they're going to get burned. I probably have to take it, but I want to leave it. I feel like, because I asked Lincoln Riley about that today. We can talk about that later, but talk about it now.
Yeah. So I asked him, like, hey, give the assessment of special teams. He kind of broke down everything, and he liked the kicking game, and he liked the punt game, and he felt like that they needed to clean up some things, and the coverage. I forget if it was the punt or kickoff return coverage. He said, punt return was fine, but Jordan Addison fumbled a ball in this game.
Did he mention that?
No,
I don't think he said that. I think he kind of overglossed.
He said he didn't mention the fumble, but he did mention that like the punt return game was fine. I wanted to follow up and just be like, why don't you just like fair catch everything? But whatever. And then and also didn't mention the onside kick team giving up. They got wiped out for a penalty. It would have been an onside kick for Arizona State. But he did, kind of was abrupt at the end about the kickoff return game. And, doesn't want his offense, the offense started at the 5 and the 6, because of screw-ups on the kickoff return team where you could just go like this, fair catch, and you get it to 25. It's pretty simple. So I feel like he knows it, definitely knows it. But sometimes people can I'm not saying he's going to be stubborn, but just in general, you're like, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to make this work, as opposed to, why don't we just fair catch the ball? I don't think they're going to fair catch the ball yet, so I feel like there could still be going down more. But it'll take like a fumble kickoff or something where they're like, stop, we're just going to fair catch now. So I don't think they've hit rock bottom, so I'm going to take it.
College football coaches notoriously not stubborn, Ryan. Notoriously not stubborn.
See, you say Chris is not funny. That is called sarcasm. He doesn't feel that they're
Ryan's great at sarcasm. Finally, take it or leave it.
Yep.
There should be concern about the offensive line. Last 2 weeks, a little bit shaky at times.
Gave me all takes. I'm looking for this picture here. I was trying to put up. Yeah, like Justin Dedich not being in. I think that was a big deal, and we got to see Cortland Ford, but then he gets that holding call that wipes out an 82-yard touchdown bomb, and then we don't see him again. Now, Lincoln Riley said today it didn't have anything to do with Cortland Ford, getting that holding call, and he said as a younger coach he might pull somebody for one play. He's more mature now. He's not going to do that, but it just seemed like Bobby Haskins was playing better. Way too much pressure, and you look at a guy like Caleb Williams. I think we talked to Malcolm Epps earlier today about his elusiveness, his the escapability, and it's just he's like, yeah, people are like, how did he even do that? He's a magic man back there, but you don't want to put him in a position where, all right, Caleb Williams, you're really good. Why don't you start the 5 and the 6, and have to do a jump pass out of the end zone to save everybody's bacon, or start at the 25. Hey, Caleb Williams, instead of like having a clean pocket, why don't you just have to avoid these rushers every single time you're dropping back to pass? And it's like it's like unnecessary challenges you're putting in front of your very special quarterback. So I'm a little concerned with the offensive line, and some people are saying if they would have run the ball more, then you could have taken some of the pressure off Caleb Williams. They weren't as effective running the ball, and I kind of see why you weren't doing as much. I mean, yeah, maybe if you're stuck to it more. I feel like though, when Lincoln Riley's calling plays, like they're really trying to they're trying to score on every drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, well, we'll run this series, and even if we don't get the first down, we wanted to run the ball to keep the defense honest. Like, I don't think that's in his brain. It's not like we're going to do this to keep things right. We're going to what do we need to do to get a first down? Well, we're gonna throw the ball, So I feel like he's kind of keeping that in his mind. He's always trying to score, like the opposite of Iowa, where they're like setting up for like punt position. Like he's trying to score like every time. So
let's be balanced for the sake of balance,
right?
Even though it yields 3 runs and a punt, or 3 runs and a incomplete pass and a punt.
Yeah,
do what you got to do to score.
Yeah,
that's the name of the game.
I love it.
Points. Yeah, that felt better than just rehashing maybe some old stuff we've talked about.
That.
So maybe I'll try, even though it'll make more work for me. And maybe I'll just do them on the spot every week. But I'll try to give you like 5, take it or leave it. It's just.
Did you make those up just right now?
Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. So
or if you got one in the comments, also throw those in and we'll do them later.
We can do those later.
Take it or leave it.
Michael says CT is excellent.
Michael.
Haters are stupid.
Haters are stupid.
So one thing you have to realize that we all have haters. Like if we're going to put ourselves out here, and kudos to Chris, who was more of a, hey, I'm writing stories behind the scenes guy, to now he's like on every freaking show that we do, every video. Didn't want to be on video, and does all those things. But all the time, every time we do this, you're going to open yourself up to criticism, and we just have to have thicker skin. Like that's fine. Like everyone can have their opinion. They can say, you suck, you say like too much, your opinions are terrible, whatever it is, you can say all those things, and you take the feedback, and some of it you maybe try to incorporate into what you do, and some of it you just like, yeah, you just, kind of not really give it much credence. But that's, we put ourselves out there, so we know what we're doing that, so we can take it. Chris can take it too.
I'm trying to cut back on the word obviously. I feel like I say obviously too much, so I'm trying to cut back. That's one of my crutch words. I'm trying
Which
to
word?
cut. Obviously.
You said it 3 times, dude.
Obviously.
We get a bunch of likes, buts. I mean, this is more of a conversational thing. But we can always work on the way we speak, the how we communicate to all of you. But we're not going to sanitize it to the point where this was like written and then edited, and those are the words we are going to say, because this is not what we do. This is more of a...
Watch the news.
Yeah. If you want us reading from a teleprompter, because we certainly don't do that.
Oh, I would suck at that.
Oh, my God.
I'd be like, slow it down. Slow it down.
All right. Let's get to some of the topics that we heard today. So we were at practice this morning. Lincoln Riley spoke, a bunch of players. Also, we're talking, and a lot of the focus on the offensive line for Lincoln Riley. We talked about special teams. That was the first I asked Lincoln Riley that very first question of the scrum. So we kind of talked about that a little bit. But the offensive line, there was some newsy stuff there, Chris, with Justin Dedich, with Cortland Ford, Bobby Haskins, the depth over there. So just kind of get your thoughts on USC's offensive line and what Lincoln Riley and the other players had to say.
Right, and we've hit on this with Justin Dedich did not play against Arizona State. He did not start. Gino Quinona stepped up for him at that right guard spot. Said after that he's going through something, and he came out still dressed, but he had that leg wrapped up with that weird looking band thing. Still not really sure what it's for, if it's like upper leg or it's the Achilles or what it goes for. But he came out with that and sat out. And he was asked about Justin Dedich and his progress, his prognosis for this upcoming week. And I don't know about you, Ryan, but I felt like Lincoln really didn't know what to say, or he didn't want to say too much when asked about it. He kind of, not taken aback, but he was kind of like, I really don't want to tell you what is actually going on.
It's like a little dance, right? Because he's asked us, or they've asked us not to report on injuries, but we can ask questions about them. And then sometimes there's a weird spot because you're like, hey, Justin Dedich has a big wrap on his lower leg. Like, what is what do you think about that?
It's not like a backup tight end or something. It's your starting right guard at an important position.
I mean, he told us like Cortland Ford a couple weeks ago was like 100% ready to go and he didn't play. So like it's not like we're always getting the correct information. But yeah, I felt like he didn't know exactly what to say with Dedich. He was like,
but he said it was good that we sat him. Kind of what he said earlier in the week, but get him close to 100%. That was key for them with big road games coming up, aka Utah. And he said we're gonna keep evaluating him. And I didn't feel like we got anything really from that. It was just, we're going to keep evaluating him. I would deem him questionable for this week. I would not be shocked, this weekend, excuse me. I would not be shocked if he sat out another one. They gave Gino another start and, kind of rolled the dice a little bit, let Dedich heal up for that big Utah game. I think Gino can handle it. Washington State's defense is pretty stingy. It's been good. As long as you're not the Ducks or whatever, but they do, they're second in the nation, I believe, in tackles for a loss. They're right up there with USC, which I believe is top 10 as well. So they get in the backfield. So mightily important that you protect up front, especially on those run plays. Don't want to get Caleb Williams pressured. They're also a top sack team. So that'd be a big test for Gino. But, it's a gamble. I think they could get away with it in resting Dedich, but no real concrete update on him, not like what he said about Ford, like he's 100% practicing. Yeah. Nothing like that on Dede, but I would deem him questionable just based on, Lincoln's not wanting to say anything.
Yeah. And
just, I think they could get away with it, not playing him again, getting him closer to 100 for Utah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. When he's talking, you kind of have to like read between the lines a little bit because he's not going to give you, if he don't want to tell everyone, hey, Justin Dedich is going to play or he's not going to play. So it kind of keeps it, he's just a little ambiguous of what was going on with Justin Dedich, but that's okay. And we got to take it or leave it.
Oh,
in the comments.
Let's go.
Anthony, take it or leave it. Take a 35-yard field goal or leave it for a 4th down conversion try. Riley likes his 4th down tries, but Lynch has been good. I mean, I guess
there's no further context of that.
You need to know, like, is it 4th and 1? You go for it. If it's 4th and 14.
I was thinking, like, are they down? Are they up 21? Is it the first quarter? I feel like the first quarter, yeah. And it's like 4th and 1. They've been moving. Yeah, I'm going for it.
I think any 4th and shorts, like, it seems like that's almost anywhere in the field. 4th and, 1 or 2, like people are just, it's analytics say like your expected value of going for it is better than kicking the field goal.
If I'm closer to the 50 and let's say it's 4th quarter, I need points. Well, I guess they said 35, so it's not that close to 50. But yeah, I think I'm
a field goal.
Yeah. So. Yes. Okay, that gives a little more context. But I think I would be erring on the side of going for it.
Yeah.
Just because I would do that in Madden or NCAA football. That's what I would do. I feel like a lot of people would do that. Just go for it.
But everyone just goes for it because you have no consequences, right? Just you reset
Right.
the game. But
Right.
but it does show. I mean, if you follow the math, it's just like going for it is you have a higher if just you're a high expected value. Some people say that's like a riskier play, but if you talk to like the analytics people, they say actually it's not the safe play. Like the riskier play is to punt to kick because you're actually in the long term, if you run the simulation a million times, like you would do better just going for it every time. You only get one result, right? So if you don't get it and then the other team scores, like, oh, see. But if you play the game 100 times, like they're saying that going for it on that 4th and 2 is better than kicking the field goal. Like more opportunity, more times than you would win the game where you go for it on 4th and 2 than if you didn't. So
There's that analytical engineering brain of yours.
I should know more about the advanced stats, all that kind of stuff. I get into a little, but everyone I've talked to that's tried to we've had to do stuff for the site. I think you're either like an advanced stats person, you just assume everybody knows. It's like being like a lot of the soccer fans are just like you expect everyone to know exactly what's going on, even though most people don't. No offense to any soccer fans here, Chris, but yes, the people just kind of start explaining things like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? And they have a really hard time just kind of, I don't say dumbing it down, but giving the basics so people can kind of get up to speed. It seems like that's always been a problem with the advanced stat stuff.
That's me on most topics. What are you talking about?
Nice. Okay. Also from Lincoln Riley, there are some connections with Washington State.
Sure.
And as far as Clay Mcguire is someone that
Former USC offensive line coach.
Yeah, so he's up there, and the fact that he was on the same staff with Lincoln Riley before, I mean, there's that connection between the two. But also Eric Morris, who played for Lincoln Riley when they were at Texas Tech, became the head coach at Incarnate Word. That's where Incarnate Word came over. The quarterback for Washington State, and the head coach is now the offensive coordinator, but he played for Lincoln Riley. So there's a bunch of connections there between Riley and the USC program and Washington State staff.
And obviously, Alex Grinch also coached at Washington State. He was a DC there. But Lincoln Riley did comment, on Morris and how he was a fun player to coach, really intelligent, really underrated coming out of high school, and you could tell that he would eventually be a coach because he has that coaching blood, that coaching lineage in his family tree. So it just made sense for him to eventually go into coaching. And he's a young up-and-comer in the FBS ranks as an OC and a quarterbacks coach. So I'm sure there'll be a nice catching up at the pregame meetings between these two coaches. Actually, I've been on the field. I feel like I haven't seen Lincoln Riley chat with any other coach at midfield. Maybe this will be different just because he actually has a connection with Eric Morris. I feel like he comes out later and he doesn't chit chat, shoot the breeze with any other coach on the opposite sideline.
You're down there in the field, so you would have seen it, but you just haven't.
There have been
seen
times where I've been like, "Where's Lincoln Riley?" So maybe this one will be a little different just because obviously he knows.
Yeah.
I said obviously, but he knows Eric Morris, and then Clay Mcguire is a guy who, we thought maybe will have a chance to stay on the staff just because they know each other. But Lincoln did lean on Clay Mcguire to get some insight about the roster that he was inheriting, and he also said just living in LA in general. They got 2 Texas guys just talking about it, so that was valuable insight. And you can get that stuff from other coaches that you inherit when you take over a program, but do you necessarily trust that because you don't know them? But Lincoln Riley said, when you've been in the trenches with someone like he has been with Clay Mcguire, you inherently trust them a lot more. So that was something he kind of talked about with Clay Mcguire. And, I think Clay Mcguire did a lot of good when he was here for those brief years, the way he was able to...
1 year, right?
I thought it was 2 years.
Was it 2?
Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought it wasn't he here in 2020? We talk about this all the time.
We do? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was here for 2020.
Okay.
And then he was here in 2021. But you can check that.
I will check it right now.
You can check it. But if I'm wrong, oh my goodness, I'm never going to hear the end of it.
No, he was named at January 2020. Yeah.
Let's go.
2 years. Yeah.
2 years. So he did a lot of good, I think, in those 2 years, kind of taking a unstable offensive line that was hodgepodge with a offensive coach that wasn't air raid friendly, and brought in Clay Mcguire, air raid friendly offensive line coach. Worked really well in year one. You saw the development. Year two really saw a lot more growth. They were one of the better units, even though I guess the national storyline coming into this offseason was USC's offensive line was not good last year, which is false.
Which wasn't, yeah, that was false.
They had some talent, they had some players, and they performed well. And I think he did a lot of good, and I think a lot of those players are going to be happy to see a lot of those former guys who played under Clay Mcguire, are going to be happy to see him on Saturday.
No, I agree with you there. So we'll watch. I mean, there's real connections going on. And, you know, when Riley was talking about just picking Mcguire's brain, you know, a lot of times the outgoing coaches will try to, like, prop up their guys. And Riley said as much, like, you know, you don't really listen to, you know, you don't know. People have agendas. You don't know of what they're going to say. But he trusted everything that Mcguire said and said it was his help was very valuable to him. So that's pretty cool. I have a stat for you, Chris. Do you know this one?
Let's hear it.
Do you know how well USC did on third down conversions Saturday night? Yeah. Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. I haven't done Stat Pack yet.
This could be a Stat Pack one. 8 of 9.
That's pretty good.
88.8%. And according, I get these little stats from my buddy at the Pac-12 will, like, you know, send me some stuff sometimes.
Oh, you got the Pac-12 stats?
I get some Pac-12 stats.
I heard those are pretty good.
I could give them to you. I should, like, for your Stat Pack thing, I could do that. It is the best single game third down conversion percentage by a Pac-12 team on record. So,
whoa,
the best
ever on record.
Yeah,
maybe in the 1930s, some team was like 9 of 9, but on record.
And I don't know if they're just saying Pac-12, meaning, you know, since whatever 2009 or whatever it was when the conference expanded.
True.
Maybe it's that. Maybe they're not talking Pac-10, but
still impressive.
Converting almost 90% of your third downs, pretty impressive.
I actually have game notes right here.
You have game notes?
Yeah, I still have the game notes. I wanted to see what. This is riveting TV. Where's third downs? ASU 7 of 13. So that's almost 50%. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
One of my predictions was that ASU was going to be less than 30% because they came into this game as one of the worst teams, not in the Pac-12, in the nation in third down at 28%. And that's how kind of ineffective the defense was in the first half, where they eventually allowed them to convert on 50%, nearly 50% clip of their third down. So, yeah, that was a team that struggled mightily on third downs,
and they did pretty good.
Yeah.
Most of that was in the first half. Right. Very different. I think all the sacks came the second half and all of that. So, USC looked like a different team defensively. They just were taking it to them. I felt like you were sitting back on your heels and sort of letting plays come to you, and they were just running at the edges and tearing USC up, and then they brought some more guys into the box and just sort of like attacked and just neutralized whatever Arizona State was doing. So I had a lot of confidence that they were going to play a lot better in the second half. I ended up being right. So let's see. We'll do. Oh, we got this. I want to put this question up real quick.
Okay.
Actually, we'll because it's a topic, and then we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back with a bunch of questions. But this was one that's been recurring.
Okay.
Armand says, asking again, is USC more likely to go 12-0 or 10-2?
More likely?
So he's asked this like, the beginning of the season, and I think maybe after
he just wants to check in every week.
It's sort of like like a wellness check on where you are, where you're at.
I would still say 10-2.
Yeah, I'm not. I think he asked before the Oregon State game. Winning that one, it does push things a little bit more, but because of the concern with the offense just isn't lights out anymore, maybe it gets back to that.
if
you beat Oregon State, but you only scored 17 points, like that's a concern. So that's hard for me to like push towards the 12-0 mark. So I'm still great. I'm still kind of circling around the 10-2.
if USC's defense had played against Arizona State as they did against Oregon State, I'd be more likely to pick 12-0.
That's
Just
another
because
good aspect,
that's 2 back-to-back performances. You got Utah. If you play with that kind of intensity and effectiveness against Utah, well, they can go in there and win that game. So
yeah.
that's still the big question. I think Utah is still going to be the favorite in that one. But if USC's defense had kept playing like that, I think it would have made it a little bit more interesting in terms of who the favorite was going to that game. But that defense proves that they like playing on the road, so we'll see what that performance looks like. But if they had come out with that sort of performance against Arizona State, I'd be more likely to pick the 12-0, but I'm still leaning towards 10-2.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. And we'll see where they sort of go from here. You covered the spread the first 3 games. You didn't cover the spread the last 2. So that's kind of just more of like concern. If you were 5-0 against the spread, so you beat everyone by what you were supposed to and more, I think it'd be more likely to.
But they were right there.
They were close.
But, your bookie's not going to accept that.
They don't. It was close.
It was,
man.
Hey.
Did you see that interception?
Did you see that foul? If Damani Jackson catches that, he's like, all right, take him in the back.
Very crazy.
Take him in the back.
Why don't we take a quick break and we'll come back and get to questions. Back in a minute. All right, we're back here on the Peristyle Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, wasn't much of a break at all, but we do this for our podcast feed, which that's the main thing we're doing here. But we love doing this, the YouTube stuff, doing it live. Thanks for all the people coming out and watching us live, putting in all your questions and comments in the chat box over on YouTube. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel if you're not subscribed, youtube.com/InsideTroy. Are you a member of the site? If you're not a member,
I am.
I am as well. You got to get in there. You got to join. If you want to do an annual membership, 30% off right now. So a lot cheaper. And then if you want to just try it out for $1, you can get 1 month of access. I would say just go read the War Rooms. Go read Chris's Ghost Notes. That alone, you're going to be like, this is well
That's what
worth
that guy said.
subscription.
That's what that guy said.
For sure. Check it out. Chris, you didn't even know this. I'm going to be, so I sent one of your articles, one of your Ghost Notes articles into a sports business class at USC because I'm going to be a guest speaker along with our former colleague Keely Yor in this, in the
Which
class.
one?
I think it's a sports business or introduction to sports.
No, not which class, which notes.
Oh, yeah. But one of those classes, Jeff Ellinger, who's, he's been around for a while, the latest Ghost Notes, the one from the Arizona State game. So,
oh my God, I have to go back and read and make sure everything's.
It's already sent. So hopefully it's tight. It's
Okay.
pretty tight.
Wait, like you sent the link?
I sent the link.
Okay,
yeah.
so I can still update it.
You can. Classes tonight.
Oh no, that's right. I have to do that. I just want to make sure it's. I don't want to
If there's a big typo up on the screen, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
I gotta go back and you're gonna be like.
Good stuff here. So.
Well, I'm embarrassed now. You shouldn't have told me that. Now I'm gonna be like, what are they saying about my?
You're required reading in a USC classroom tonight. So.
Cool.
I don't know about
Cool,
required,
cool,
but it's recommended reading.
But they don't have.
I think he's going to send I said it's okay, copy the text and send it to the class or whatever. But just some of the stuff that you guys put up. Chris does a great job with the observations, just from what we were talking about today. We don't get to watch that much of practice, and you read Chris's notes and you'd think he'd been watching a lot more. So check it out. If you're not a member, that's something you should do.
The practice ones are a little more defanged.
Yeah, well, because
so I go all out with game day.
The game you can because it's on TV,
it's
right?
Like everything is for grabs.
Everything's on the table because it's on TV, but you are actually there and you're getting all the stuff on the sideline, which is great. Okay.
Before we get into questions,
Yes.
you said I could bring something up.
Of course.
The
you can
towel
bring something
guys.
up. Oh, okay. You want to talk about the towel guys?
So there's people live listening.
Yep.
I want, I guess, if you have an opinion on the towel guys, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, it's the staffers on the sideline. I believe they're mainly just strength and conditioning coaches who, go crazy with the towels. I brought this in as
you got a little towel.
representation.
Nice. Yeah.
As a representation, and then they
You have
go
to be a little more.
big-
There's an aggression to the towels.
There's
It's like you're showing the sidelines. Look, we are waving towels. Like this is at you. This isn't this isn't the terrible towels of the Steelers. Like this is like coming
These
at
are weapons.
you towels.
These are weapons. It's in your face towels.
Yes.
And so you're obviously watching live, and you can comment. I want to know, what do you think of the towel guys? Because I noticed on this week there was a discourse about them, and I don't know if it's just the Twitter sphere, or I didn't really see it on the Peristyle. Maybe it's on YouTube. I don't know. But it just seemed like there was a discourse about how people didn't like them, and I didn't really understand it because, like, why not? And I don't know where you fall, Ryan. I feel like I have a feeling of where you fall on this, but yeah. Do you have an opinion on the towel guys, or do you have an answer as to why people are so upset about them?
So I put Graham's comment up. He says towel guys need to go, but Jared said need that energy all the time, and then Jason says way too many towel guys. And what is their official position?
They're strength and conditioning coaches.
Yeah.
And like, what? They have no role on game days, right?
I don't know what they're doing.
You're not lifting weights on the sideline. You got to get that energy out.
Yeah. George says, I like the towel guys because they jack up the players. Amon says, if it happens in practice, then towel guys are cool to keep happening in games. So
I wouldn't know.
I don't think we do. Yeah, we can't really
know.
watch practice and stuff, but yeah. So, and this may be the best one. Ito says, as long as we're winning, who cares if we got obnoxious towel guys? That would be a terrible look.
Well, if you remember,
if you if you were losing and you had the towel guys going on.
If you remember last season, and I wrote about this multiple times in my ghost notes from last season, that Dante, during his interim stint, attempted to get this going, get towel guys before towel guys this year were going, and they were referred to as the Juice Squad. I said Juice Squad. And they would hand out towels, and then, like, during practice, the guys who were on the sideline, like, mainly specialists, would wave flags during, like, team periods.
Yeah.
And it was mainly...
That was weird.
And it was very... it felt... I'm not like I'm clowning on Dante, because that was obviously a very tough task. And during a losing streak...
He was doing what he could.
Doing what he could to sort of change things up. But it was very... It felt forced, and it just did not really catch on. I have these images of Ben Griffiths all alone in practice.
Just waving.
Just the one sad Juice Squad guy just doing this. But this obviously, damn it. This feels more...
Obviously.
This feels more natural.
Yeah.
Organic.
Steven says, I wish they had longer towels. That's a really good comment. We got a lot of good comments. I tried to put up a whole bunch of...
you want them to have beach towels? Like full-on beach towels?
But a lot, people were like, it's all over the place.
They're very polarizing.
Just my gut is like, it's a little much for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're a anti-toweler.
I'm not like...
You're anti-towel.
USC,
as a Pittsburgh fan, wow.
As a Steeler fan. But I'm saying, that's not that egregious. It's more of like a towel. Like, if it was like towels, it's more like towels. Like, it's
what does this do? This doesn't do anything.
I don't know,
here.
but I feel like
if you're
guys are like...
You're getting it.
It's like, you made this great catch, and they're like, you take that turf, we caught a ball on top of, it's like something like you're... I don't know. It's just something...
You can't be hyped doing this.
Yeah.
It's like a little... Like, kids can do this. Like, grown men. Like,
I bet you the team, if you ask the players, like off the record, you asked everybody.
Off the record.
I bet you it would be like similar to our comments. There would be...
Oh, you think
we like
it'd be
it,
split.
and there'd be like, okay, it's annoying. Like, I just caught this ball and this guy's like waving a towel in my face. Like, get the hell out of here, dude. Like, I could see people saying that too. That would be my guess. Maybe we have to do an official poll with some of the players.
Like the anonymous poll. Like
we're like, look, we're not going to say anything. We're not going to put this in the war room. Do you like the towel, guys? I bet you get some yeses, and I bet you get some nos.
Okay, so I'm pro towel. You are anti towel. This is interesting. Whose side? This is like Captain America: Civil War. We have our sides, and then the one guy who wants beach towels. So
Mark says, and these were the terrible towels we had as Steeler fans. Pittsburgh towels are always yellow. We need cardinal and gold towels. That's true. They're also they're kind of like the hand towels you get at the Holiday Inn, and they're white. They're not like cardinal and gold and like at least the bath mat size. Like you don't need the full on like the bath mat towels a little bit bigger.
I know what I'm just saying. You just pulled that out. This does bring me back to a thing I observed at Oregon State, and I didn't make my ghost notes that from game day because I did not understand what I was watching. But Cooper Lovelace was going up and down the sidelines looking for towels, and I could not figure out why.
He wanted to be a towel guy.
But I also don't know if that was because they were looking for something to block the back of the.
Maybe.
If anyone who read my ghost notes from that day knows that in the second half they were holding up. Cooper Lovelace and Joe Bryson were holding like a giant mat to block Henson's O-line coach because right over the shoulder, 20 feet away or whatever, Oregon State coaches because they were so close to the field. So I don't know if they were looking for towels for towel guys or was just looking for a big ass towel to cover up the huddle.
Nice. I don't know.
So the debate about towel guys will continue in the future, but this is the first open discussion about it.
We've had this is the first time we've talked about it. It's a popular topic, so we might as well address it.
Well, give me some questions.
Let's get some questions. And I didn't write down where this one came from. It was an email.
Cool.
Why are the Pac-12 refs so brutal? Did they get graded? And Lincoln Riley was actually asked about some of the PI calls. But yeah, Pac-12 refs get graded. We don't usually hear much. I mean, the biggest issue I had was Caleb Williams got squirted in the face with a water bottle, and there was no flag. It was like right in front of a ref. And we still haven't heard from the Pac-12 hasn't said anything about it. Like, that could be like assault or something.
Do they make announcements on things like that?
If it's something egregious, I don't think this was, I mean.
If he like punched him.
Right. But, I mean, if you spit on someone, that's like assault, right? Like, this literally was squirting water in his face. Like, that's an aggressive act.
Someone did that at Georgia. Didn't George Pickens do that? Someone went on the sideline and he squirted water while he was down. I think that happened. I don't think he got flagged for that.
This should have been a flag, though, for sure. And this was a guy that's been chippy all night. But I haven't heard anything from the Pac-12 on it. They do get graded. Riley was talking about, he thought some of the, PI calls were legit. And the other ones, he said like they could go either way. And he had mentioned the one that was on Jordan Addison. Looked like a great defensive play, and they call PI. That saved USC. That was one of those third down conversions, I believe.
Right.
But Arizona State's, last scoring drive, two highly, highly questionable PI calls that just look like great defensive plays. And, Riley was pretty honest, like, just sometimes that happens. And you just try to make plays. And the thing he said was, we wouldn't tell either of those DBs to do anything different. Like, that's what you want them to do. So that's sort of like a roundabout way of saying, that was a terrible call. But he admitted there was terrible calls on the other side, too. Yeah.
I want them to get graded like PFF grades.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get that. No, the Pac-12 refs are just known for being, it's not bias, it's more incompetence.
There you go.
I haven't seen a lot of bias. It could potentially be there, but it's really just been incompetence on both sides. Let's go to a voicemail.
Hi, this question is for Ryan and Chris. Are USC fans the worst? I don't understand. Just complaining all the time about this defense, who is playing above their talent level. Complaining about this defensive line, which is playing well above its talent level. They're fast, they're quick, they get off the step, they put effort in. This team is averaging, or this defense is giving up less than 20 points a game which is way better than anyone thought they were going to do. They're one of the leaders in the nation in both sacks and turnovers and red zone efficiency. I don't understand what people thought that this team was going to be. This defense is good enough to win you double-digit wins. You know, if things break the right way, this team could run the table and make the playoffs this year. I don't understand what people thought was going to happen with this team, what expectations were. But this defense is great. This defensive line is great. You got to love their effort. And I just don't get it. I don't know if USC fans deserve Clay Helton the way they're talking. They probably should hire him back. Jeez. Eddie from Orange.
To hire Clay Helton back.
Wow.
That's, yeah.
He just triggered a bunch of
He might have had a lot of fans until he said that. Like, people were like, yeah, I agree. The defense has been pretty good.
That's all they heard. They heard one fan say they should hire. Out of context.
He could have said, here's the cure for cancer. Write it down, write it down. USC deserves to get Clay Helton back. They would have just like discounted everything he said before. I don't care about your cure for cancer.
I agree with everything he kind of said. That USC we knew had a sort of talent issue on, you know, they brought talent in. Eric Gentry, Kai Blackman, Shane Lee, Tuli Tuipulotu. They have talent, but it's not the head-to-toe stacked roster that you need defensively for, you know, competing at that real national level. And they're punching above their weight class. And they're playing, like you said, they're playing fast. They're being aggressive. They have an edge at times. They're taking the ball away. They are allowing less than 20 points per game, which just go back and watch a game from last year.
Yeah.
They would give up 20 points in the first half alone, and they could not stop anyone. This team can actually make stops.
Yeah.
Whether that's with a big third down at times or just pick the ball off. You know, those are the things that they're doing. So I agree with everything he said, that this is a defense that can win you get you double-digit wins. They're doing enough to get to that point with the offense that they have. And, yeah, I think they're doing a good job based on everything that, you know, they have in terms of, you know, they don't really have that defensive line depth. They don't really have that big other guy to help Tuli on the front. They lost their starting edge rusher for the season in Romello Height. They've gone through some things, but they're still hanging in there. They're taking punches, and that's like the number one thing. If you at least have a tough defense that plays with a little bit of an edge, you can win games.
Yeah.
And not roll over. And we saw that at Oregon State. We saw that in the second half of Arizona State. This team has this defense has the mentality like an FU mentality.
They got the eye of the tiger.
They got the eye of the tiger for, you know, the 70s reference or whatever.
That's not a 70s reference.
80s?
80s, yeah.
Okay. I overshot it. Sorry.
You did by a lot. Yeah, I feel like people are moving the goalposts, if you want to use a football analogy. I know it's not food, but it's football. Yeah, like if you would have said, okay, Alex Grinch is going to come in, and your defense last year was one of the worst in USC history, right? Like literally one of the worst in history as far as points per drive, all that stuff. Like any analytic you want to look at, USC was bad. In the hundreds, you know. Well outside what the power, you know, there's 64, whatever, Power 5 teams or whatever it is. USC was in the hundreds, all that stuff. You're talking like 20 points a game. Like, don't even look at the turnovers. Just say, if you got it down to 20 points a game from in the 30s, like, that's a huge improvement. And then you're going to have a competent offense. People would have said, like, yeah, I'll take it. But for somehow, people are upset, like, this is the way things are going to go. You know, they've given up. It's been bend but don't break. They've given up more yardage than you would like, but they've stopped when it comes to the points. The points are what matters. When you would talk about Graham Harrell's teams that would get all the, you know, the empty calories and get all these yards and not score enough points, like that's what teams USC's doing to these teams. And you could argue that eventually that's going to break and you're not going to be able to continue that. Yeah, sure, there's going to be a game where they give up a bunch of points. It hasn't happened yet, but there'll be one. And that's fine. Like, this is college football. Like, it's not going to be perfect every week. But they've shown they have the wherewithal. They're doing the right things as far as trying to force turnovers, trying to force big negative plays. And it doesn't work for a half. And then the second half, they turn it on, and you get, 7 tackles for loss, or maybe 6 in the second half. You get that interception. You know, they have 15 turnovers on the season through 5 games. Like, You're averaging 3 turnovers a game. Pretty darn good, you know? So, yeah, it's the people that are just complaining about the defense are like, they're not going to win a national championship. Like, did you expect them to be like Georgia or Alabama in year one? Like, I didn't. They're doing pretty good. You know, this is a whole new roster. The fact that they've come out 5-0 when you easily could have taken, a few weeks to just kind of gel. They're already gelled. They're already playing together. They've had bad moments on defense, but they've had a lot of good moments too. They've made a lot of big plays. So yeah, I don't get all the criticism. It's not a perfect defense. It's a flawed team, but they're doing pretty good.
We talked about how we weren't really sure that we were going to get out of this defense and see out of this defense. That was the thing that was like, we feel like the defense will be the make or break for this team being maybe an 8-win team to maybe an 11-win team. The defense was the difference. And
Yes.
I will say they have played better than the expectations I set for them, especially, as a turnover team, getting in the backfield, all those kinds of things. Still have issues, and I still think they're going to break in a bad way at some point. There's going to be some game where something's going to go happen. Is that up in Utah? I don't know. We're going to see. But I still think this team is performing well above, their talent level at times, and they're punching above their weight class. But, hey, at least they're punching, Ryan.
Yeah, they're punching out. Jesus says, what's the deal with the defense? I like the halftime adjustments. I just genuinely don't understand how each of the 5 games we started with the wrong plans/scheme. Is it that each team is throwing something there we didn't prepare for or bad performances? Thanks, from Jesus. I don't know the bad scheme with the Oregon State game or anything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was like,
they shut them down.
Yeah, and again, I just feel one of those things where
Came out flat in some of those.
yeah,
And you're not going to
it's college football.
You're not going to scheme a perfect defense every time.
You got to temper the expectations a little bit, just because you went from a horrible, horrible, horrible defense last year, just absolutely awful.
No defense is perfect out of the gate.
And now they're pretty good. They're decent. They're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So
Missouri was beating Georgia.
Yeah, and someone made a comment about the Georgia thing. So
The number 1 defense in the country.
here's a SC dad. The defense needs more pick sixes.
Okay.
I mean, you had 3 in one game. That was a record.
He's saying they haven't done one since. What have they done since, Ryan?
Caleb Bullock almost had one. He got tackled by the quarterback. He was not happy about that. This is very similar to what I think it was after the second game. Someone wrote to Shotgun or said something that yeah, but they need to get more. They need to get the backfield. They needed more tackles for loss. And then Shotgun was like, well, they've had 20, and that leads to the Pac-12. They have the most in the Pac-12. And just sometimes people just want, they have something in their mind they want to complain about, and they don't realize the numbers don't back up what they're saying. All the negative plays that USC's forcing. I think that's what you want, especially with a high-powered offense. It doesn't have to be a turnover. It can be a sack. It doesn't have to be a pick six. I mean, what they have? Is it 14 interceptions this year?
12.
12 interceptions? Insane. That's a lot of interceptions through 5 games. So, yeah, they only returned 3 of them for touchdowns. That's 2 seasons worth. So they did that in one game.
Right.
I'm not sure. A lot of people want to complain about stuff. Let's go to Ray in Pasadena. Guess what he wants to talk about, Chris?
Defense.
Not a good showing for the defense against a 1-3 team. Actually, the defense is pretty, and he says crappy in different words. Nothing to be excited about. Crappy coaching, crappy effort. I mean, you can't say crappy effort. They play with it's a whole effort defense, man. Who's the next head coach? It can't even be real, right?
He's completely.
He doesn't seem to have any control either. Young coach, he needs to be a pal. We should be dominating Arizona State. That's Ray in Pasadena.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I don't think this can't be real, but I think Ray in Pasadena is a real dude.
Was that an email?
It was an email.
Oh,
I might have to email him back.
I'm not dignifying that with anything.
Tracy of Troy, she goes #gentrified. So it's each time Eric Gentry causes chaos. So Gen, Gen, Troy, fied. So you're gentrified if he causes chaos, meaning he tips a pass that gets intercepted. Trademark it. Fight on. And then she said this was before the ASU game, in danger of the Sun Devils. But yes, they've already lost. So, nice. Do you like the hashtag?
Maybe I should try it.
See what it does.
See what happens. See what it does. I feel like I'm going to get a bunch of people being like, "You're being woke." Because gentrified.
Right.
I feel like that's
Gentroified.
Yeah, even if I spell it that way, I feel like I'm still gonna get a bunch of I'm gonna have like 2 retweets, 50 likes, and
ratioed?
like 30 people like, look at this USC reporter.
You're gonna get ratioed.
And I was like, it's Tracy's idea. I was just trying it out. I'm
Nice.
sticking with the unicorn.
Now you're misogynistic. Now you're because yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that one. Jeff in Whittier says, do you think Lincoln Riley has gone too far in telling Caleb Williams not to run? The past 2 games, there have been very few disingenuous runs, and every time he does run, his eyes go right to the sideline. Even one of the RPO plays, he has handed the ball off in traffic when it looked like he had a lot of room in front of him. Are they really that worried about him getting hurt?
I think they don't want to get your Heisman winner, your Heisman candidate hurt.
True, but he runs like he against Oregon State. Like that's the only offense they had, pretty much. Like he would take off and run and keep plays going. In the Arizona State game, I think he had
44 yards.
44 yards, but it was 52, and then he had a sack that took away 8 yards. But when he took off and ran, 52 yards of rushing, which probably when he had 68 yards in the Rice game, that was the most we've seen on record. And I don't know. I mean, we went back decades. 52 is probably up there too. Decades.
To the
Like Rodney
70s.
Peete never ran for that many yards. If you remember, like the Reggie Perry years, where he wasn't the greatest thrower. I mean, but he could run. He was more of an athlete that they had to put in the quarterback spot. He never had that many yards rushing. Yeah, you're going back like maybe Pat Hayden did. I don't know, like, but a long time ago. If someone did it, so 52 years is a lot. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be that concerned. I think they're kind of picking their spots. But LA Transplant says, why is Caleb? So this was, I think he sent this like a direct message to me on the Peristyle.
Okay.
Why is Caleb always looking for the sidelines when scrambling instead of sliding feet first to give himself up? It only increases his chances of getting hit. And what's your take on Caleb Williams taking a 4-yard loss, a sack, running out of bounds on a play instead of throwing it away?
I think he has a least likely chance of getting hit on the sideline.
Yeah.
Because aren't you more cognizant to not do that hit on the sideline?
Right. I think people,
if
you're running towards the sideline, people are less likely to hit you. Now, it happens, and you get a 15-yard penalty if it does.
And you can still get hit even when sliding. I mean, wasn't Dylan Gabriel sliding on his big hit? The one that knocked him out?
I think it was, yeah. I think he was sliding on that one.
So, I mean, I personally would probably rather go sideline than take the slide.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I just think it's him being extra cautious to make sure he doesn't get hurt and take a hit like that.
Yeah. We have a bunch of questions starred. Let me, we'll try to put these up quickly.
Rapid?
We'll do some rapid here. This is from Graham. Why does Lincoln seem to not care to do anything to improve the kick punt return game? Special teams, Chris.
I think they don't spend too much time on it. I think
We can't tell because we're not watching.
We can't tell, but I just think they have focuses. They focus on scoring points and stopping people from scoring points more than special teams. And they probably should do Ryan's advice to just fair catch everything.
They should. I'm going to be a special teams coordinator because I think I would do pretty good at it. But you could tell when Lincoln watched the video. So we put up instant analysis. Chris and Jack did a great job of that. And in that content item on the front page of USCfootball.com is Lincoln Riley's conference as well. You can check that out. But when he goes through, when I ask him the question about special teams, he goes through the stuff. The way he was talking about the field position they've lost with the kick return, you could tell he was not happy about it. So I feel like it's going to be a point of emphasis. It's something they're going to do. But just be better off fair catching it and go from there. M. Morris, do you feel like USC deserves their ranking?
I think they're a little high.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still on this. I think they're probably like 10 or 9.
Really? See,
11.
I'm good with 6. Like
The polls mean nothing until they
don't
mean something
anything,
at the
but
end.
like
But
everybody's flawed. Like,
everybody's flawed. That's true.
I think you have like this hyper. We are looking into a microscope at USC. If we were doing the same thing to Oklahoma State or like Tennessee, you're like, I could see why they're not ahead of USC. So I feel like you can be a little too much. You like
little
you know
too
what the
hypercritical
you know where the
because-
warts are, right?
Sure.
But every team has warts. They all have warts.
I know what flaps to look under.
Yeah. Nice. We got Blackie Chan has a bunch of them, so we'll try to do 1 or 2 of these. Where can USC exploit Washington State on both offense and defense?
Force Cameron Ward to make bad decisions.
Okay.
Confuse him. He is, I believe, second to last or second in the Pac-12 in turnovers in terms of picks.
Yes.
Confuse him, pressure him, and make him throw picks. Defensively, wait, I answered that. How they take advantage of him on offense. How do they take advantage of them on defense? They give up a lot of passing yards. So I think the air attack is going to be kind of the thing, unless Washington State goes into this, trying to get them to run on them.
Yeah.
That's what that's dropping 8. So I'm interested to see what they do, but they give up a lot of passing yards. Don't give up that many passing touchdowns, but this is obviously, I think, the best passing offense they're going to face.
Right.
So I'll be interested, wide receivers as well. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup. But I like USC in that.
Yeah. And he followed up. He had like Cam Ward has 7 picks. Do you think USC gets at least one in this game? I think so. Yeah. I think there's going to be that's going to be opportunities, I think, for USC.
Yeah.
Adrian says, who is your defensive MVP at this point of the season?
Probably Gentry.
Eric Gentry. Okay.
Then maybe Mckay, then Thule.
Ooh, you put Mckay. See, I think I'm probably going Thule,
Okay.
but I think they're all good choices. Potentially, like there's a lot there. Here's another Blackie Chan one. Sorry. It says, when USC beats Washington State, do you think we'd jump up to 4 or 5, or do we stay at 6? Completely depending on what happens in front
Completely.
of. Yeah.
If they destroy them,
I don't think you're passing anybody.
Yeah.
Like Clemson's look good, like a lot better than I thought they'd look. Michigan just, their schedule's not been great, but they
need
just
someone
they
to
beat
stumble.
Iowa. Yeah, I think
Someone to
that's one of those
stumble.
things. But I don't think they would drop or whatever.
You
but
beat Utah,
Utah, then yeah.
you could move up without a stumble above you.
The problem is that they lost to a middle of the road Florida team, and that's not great. Dan, if you were Grinch, would you rather be the defensive coordinator with a chance of a natty or a Power 5 head coach with no chance?
Give me the DC.
Really?
I want that ring.
What the head coaching salary? Changes your life.
Oh, you just want the buyout?
It changes the buyouts are amazing. It changes your life to become a head coach. So I think you get the opportunity, like you become a head coach somewhere good that you don't have a chance to win a national championship there, but you build up and you get hired by a place as the head coach to be a national championship. I'm shooting for the stars, Chris. I'm like going for long term. I'm not trying to win a
You're
ring
going the Clay
today.
Helton track?
Like I'm not doing, who was the dude, Von Miller? Is it Von Miller that like trying to win a Super Bowl, 3 different teams? He went to Denver now.
He won a Super Bowl.
The 2. He won with, was it Denver and
Rams?
And the Rams, and then I forget where he went now, Philly or something like that, or no, Buffalo. He's in Buffalo now, so he's trying to win another.
Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but yeah, that's good. Question from this is Touchdown USC. Why is there reluctance to faircast the kickoff returns?
They want to make plays, I guess.
Yeah, when I was talking to other special teams coordinators, and USC doesn't have one right now, it was more about. And I think we talked about this on Tunnel Vision a little bit. Don't look at it like if you look at the whatever, you try to return the ball and you get to the 20 and then the 19 and then the 21. I'm looking at that. I'm like, you're losing yards every single time. In the coach's minds, it was like, yeah, we might be fall short. But the one you get that beats it, it doesn't go 30. It doesn't go to the 30. So you get 5 extra yards. It's going for a touchdown. That's the theory, so if you have 5 kickoff returns and 4 of them fall short of the 25, but they're like at the 20, you're okay. That's still nowhere near as good as returning one of those 5 for a touchdown. So would you rather have 5 drives that start at the 25 or 4 of them that start at the 20 and one that scores a touchdown? You'd rather take that, but whatever.
Sorry.
Chris is following us.
Special former teams player here.
Chris is
just letting Ryan soothing special teams talk.
Yeah, I think we got that same question a couple of times. All right. I think that's it for the questions that we had. So, awesome. It's been a show.
Yeah.
Thank you for everyone on YouTube. We got a bunch
Thank
of people.
you everyone on YouTube.
Yeah, we had a bunch, 185 people in the middle of the day just watching us on the YouTube. So we appreciate that.
I hope you were entertained.
Oh, Chris, I forgot to hit record. We need to do this again. Holy cow. Yeah, we're both running on fumes. So, but we appreciate you hanging with us.
I feel good.
Hopefully you didn't feel like we were running on fumes. We try to bring some energy. Try to bring it. I had my tea earlier today.
We should get one of the towel guys in here on Tuesdays to whip at us.
Yeah. We need to. I wish we could talk to like Betty Wiley about that stuff, but maybe I'd talk to him off the record and see like, tell me the towel guy. I need some intel on the towel guys, Benny. Okay, we'll wrap things up.
I'm pulling out my laptop because I need to.
You got to get on.
I have to finesse these ghost notes.
Oh yeah, the ghost notes are still
going to
going.
read my notes.
They're going to read them. Oh, nice. And make sure you check out Chris's 2-star composite
2-star recruits. We didn't even talk about USC getting a big commitment the other day.
Oh yes. Well, I figured you guys would.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. We're going to handle it.
You can fit it in hour number 4, the commitment that USC got. And we'll have another preview show coming up on Thursday. Lots of preview articles on USC and Washington State, so make sure you check it out. Tom Hare does a great job breaking everything down. I usually do my 5 questions, the know your foe piece, like asking an expert and whoever the opponent USC is playing. 5 questions I have about the team to kind of give you guys all more information about who USC's next opponent is. But for Chris Trevino, I am Ryan Abraham. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We really enjoyed bringing it to you, broadcasting it to you, recording it, all of that. And we will talk to you next time.